Well, hello, my name is Joanna Clark with Blissful Baby Sleep Coaching, and it's the month of WO3. It's all about partnering, promoting, and supporting amazing women-owned businesses. I'm delighted to have Karen Gibson here today with Letting Go with Aloha. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Joanna.
We are going to have a fantastic about everything that Karen is up to in her amazing business. So let me give you a quick bio, and then we're going to dive right in. So Karen has a company called Letting Go with Aloha, and she's going to explain that, which is really fun. And her mission is to support moms and dads navigating the roller coaster parenting journey. Yes, it is. Helping them create a nurturing environment while raising resilient, responsible, and respectful children. Her top priority when working with families is revolutionizing parenting to reduce stress and increase peace. I love that. Thank you so much, Karen. I can't wait to hear how you do that in your in working with families. So tell us about Letting Go with Aloha. Tell us about your business and all the things you're doing to support families.
Well, back in 2014, my eldest left for college, and I sunk into a deep depression. No one talks about the pain when your child moves away, just the childbirth, but it is gut wrenching. And so I kept a journal, and that journal turned into a book entitled "Mama's Got to Let Go: How to Let Go Without Losing Your Sanity." I don't promise that you won't lose your sanity. But I think a lot of us need to learn how to let go. And that's how letting go with aloha, meaning with love, because we don't want to let go with a lot of resistance and resentment, right? When you
Right.
let go and you learn how to trust your journey as well as your child's journey, magic can happen.
I absolutely agree. So what ways are you helping families letting go with Aloha right now? Because I know you have like two different sides to your business.
Yes, well, currently Letting Go with Aloha helps families. And when I work with a family, I work with each individual child, and then I work with the parents, and I work with the family altogether. It could be communication goals, it could be educational goals, which all boils down to some kind of behavior, some kind of limiting belief, some kind of struggle that the family is going through. And then when they learn each other's love language, when they learn each other's, I think we'll talk about that later, the inner voices that hijack their mind, whether it's hyperachiever, avoider, restless, it really gives parents mental tools that they can use throughout the day to avoid the meltdowns, the temper tantrums, and it's parents too. We have tantrums as well when we're
Right.
faced with oppositional behavior.
Exactly. And so for the parenting coaching where you're working with the individual child and you're working with each individual parent and then as the family system, what age range do you work with those families?
Thanks for asking that. I used to start younger, but now it's age 5 through 16.
Mhm.
But you know what? My current family does have an 18-year-old. So I think just through teens, because even when you're 19, 20, it's still a struggle just navigating that, just entering adulthood, right? So I think it's even extra important to find someone to work with so that you don't have to struggle.
Right. So give us an example of what it would be like working with a family that has a 5-year-old versus a teenager. And the reason why I want to kind of go in deep on like what your work looks like with a 5-year-old is because as a gentle sleep coach, I work with families 6 months to 10 years of age. And so as the child gets, and so you think to yourself like, well, why are you kidding me? You might have a child who's 7 years old that doesn't know how to sleep, and the answer is yes. And usually when they're calling me, it's because the child wants to start having more independence, such as going to a slumber party, going to away to summer camp, and they don't yet have the confidence and the skill set to sleep independently. So families that have like a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, they might not even realize that they need a parenting coach, that there are all these benefits to having that kind of support. Because a lot of people will think, okay, parenting coach might be needed in kind of preteen, teenagers where there's going to really be a breakdown of communication and some defiance. But what about this age, this 5 to 7 year old time, 5 to 7 year olds group? What kind of parenting coaching? What give us some examples of the types of problems that those parents are coming to you for?
Well, I think great question because I've had one recently, a 4-year-old going into kindergarten, and the pressure the parents feel to make sure they do the right thing to get into the right school, to make sure the child behaves, can actually have the opposite effect of having cooperation because the child feels pressure,
Mhm.
they might act out. So, as parents, what do? You're fairly new because you haven't really traveled that academic journey, but you already know that my child must behave. I don't want my child to, have calls from the office. So, when you have that either beginning stage of education, right? And then the magical age, as we know, like 7, right? You might have disrespectfulness, which is not really disrespectful. They're just coming into their own, right? They're trying to traverse the waters of independence and test boundaries. So and I have families who have the 5-year-old and the 12-year-old and the
Right.
18-year-old, right?
Right.
So then
Yes.
it becomes truly necessary to have a impartial party who has experience in navigating, like it truly is a roller coaster ride, parenting journey. And how do you do it so that not the one child doesn't think, oh my gosh, this is just so unfair, right? A lot of
Right.
unfairness, right? When you have multiple children, and how to get that cohesive communication and peace so that you're not constantly putting out fires, which is like communication, the conflict that happens.
Okay, I love that. That is so, so good. So those of you that are parents and you think, "Oh, I've got a baby and a 5-year-old. I okay, so maybe I'll get help with a 5-year-old." But then all of a sudden one day you're going to have a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old. And now you've got two very different situations. So I guess the good news is if you work with Karen Gibson, she's going to take you through all developmental phases. She's going to help you as your family grows, as your children mature, as they pass through appropriate boundary busting zones where, communication breaks down. And like you said, like there's this feeling like my child doesn't respect me or respect our family rules. But in fact, it's really not that oftentimes. Sometimes it's the child just doing natural boundary pushing, but since you don't have a framework for it, it just feels like they're being disrespectful. So I love that your goal is to, like I said, her goal is to build resilience, responsible and respectful human beings. And I think that is so needed and wanted by both parents and the world right now. So I love that. So I know you have another part of your business too that I find really fascinating, especially with your history as a teacher. So can you talk about brain builders?
Yes, brain builders will quickly start it as a dream. So they're little seeds, a rainbow that says brain builders, and a tree. So I stopped being a special ed teacher, which just total burnout. And I decided to work with kids 3 to 17. I learned a lot about just building of the brain, the neuroscience behind our behavior and our mental growth. And then being the mother of a 21-year-old and a 27-year-old, talk about real life experience every day, going through the conflict, going through, do I really let go? How do I let go?
Mhm.
And then all of the hundreds of kids that I've worked with. So, Brain Builder started off with the academic goal of helping kids succeed in and out of the classroom. But I didn't realize it is not about academics alone. The mental health and the EQ, emotional intelligence, is so important so that we can raise kids who are respectful, resilient, responsible.
Right, exactly. And kind of going back to that analogy she made earlier about, having a 5-year-old that's about to go into kindergarten, making sure he's at the right school, doing the right after school activities and learning his numbers and his letters. And then next thing you know, you have a child that's having, who's in 4th grade having a mental breakdown because they didn't get an A on their spelling test, right? And so Karen is all about balancing that academic knowledge with emotional well-being. Um, and I think that's so important because it's not just about the A's. Our world is so much more complex now. You have to be a much more multidimensional human being. It can't just be book smarts. So that brings us to kind of PQ parenting. So tell us a little bit about that, right? Because we are in a more complex world. What is PQ parenting?
EQ is positive intelligence. And what we learn or what I teach is that there are 9 inner voices. I just name a few of them. I think a lot of us can relate to a hyperachiever, hypervigilant. You are constantly worrying about what might happen. And then sometimes restless. You need to be in every activity. I need to keep you busy. And all of that can really create a lot of overwhelm, a lot of mental stress. And this is why we have 12-year-olds wondering if life is worth living. It's really serious now that we need to learn how to teach emotional management. Otherwise, we'll have adults, which we do now. They need the higher pay and the promotion and climbing that success ladder, which means to have perfect children. It is a never ending cycle of perfection.
Mhm.
I mean, I've had 3 kids this week. My goal is to be perfect. That's heartbreaking because you can't achieve perfection, but it's because it's role model to them that you get praise when you get that perfect grade.
Right. Right. And so for Karen, working with families and working one-on-one with children in her brain builders, it's really helping them build that emotional resilience along with the academic resilience. And I think that that is so important because life is meant, there is going to be ebbs and flows. Um,
Yes.
and and you would rather have them have some understanding of what failure looks like and feels like when they're underneath your roof rather
Yes.
than when they're out in the real world and their first fall is in college. Um, and, I have an older daughter too who's in college. And, I do agree that you want to have them learn this emotional resilience, positive intelligence while they're under your roof, because they will be
Yes.
better equipped to manage themselves when they truly have independence, when you, even if you wanted to, you couldn't control the agenda of their college life because the college puts a big, like, I mean, they have a lot of like stop signs that make it almost impossible for even the most creative mom, which I'd like to think I am, to kind of get in there and figure out what's going on. And there's like just, it's pretty funny. But yeah, so I think, I've had to do a little bit of letting go of Aloha in this past year and a half with my daughter being off in college. So I definitely understand about letting go of the agenda. So that is so great. So tell us, so now we know all the things you're doing in your business. So um what inspired you to go out on your own? You had this incredible history of teaching special education and you kind of touched
Well,
on
my,
it a little
well,
bit
my,
more, but I'd like a little bit
yes.
more of the origin story because you're just, doing so many different things.
Well, I started out as a marketing director for the Hawaii State Bar Association. So I was working with attorneys. I always say that led me to work with special ed children, who led me to become a mom and really work with other moms and other children. But I was just burned out. And I thought, I want to do something where I have my own freedom. My schedule is mine. And it was scary, but I thought, I think I want to do this. And so I decided to do Brain Builders in 1999. And then in 2000, many, many years later, I decided to do Letting Go with Aloha. And since then, I have collaborated. Someone from Kauai had Healing with Aloha, Deslynn Jaquias. And so I was on her healing summit. She was on my parenting summit. As a single mom with a teenager, she learned, oh, I didn't realize I have to let go. Letting go is, I think, a universal, a universal challenge.
Mm.
I'm currently working with someone from in the UK, and we have the dynamic duo, and we also help parents and families. So I'm realizing that if I can collaborate and I can help other entrepreneurs, especially mothers or people working with families, I'm here to help since my mission is to revolutionize, parenting globally. What a great opportunity to work with other moms.
Yes, exactly. So as part of the WO3 movement, everything is all about, learning to partner with each other And it looks like Karen's already been doing this, right? She's kind of spanning the globe. She's already got a partnership with someone in the UK. She's got another partnership with a woman who is also an Aloha spirit and on the islands. So that is amazing. So now it's time to have you shout out um, all something in your business that you want everyone to know about. So what would you like to, because we're here to partner, promote, and support you. So this is your chance to shine and tell us what you want everyone to get involved with you to learn more.
Well, you can check out my website, which is lettinggowithaloha.com. But I would like to offer anyone watching Joanna's podcast to take advantage of my Breaking the Cycle of Anxious Parenting certification. So it's online. If you do put 50 OFF 50 off, you'll get 50% off the normal rate of 129. And what you learn is to learn to shift your mindset, which is life changing. Conflicts reduce, peace increases, engaging in positive communication strategies, which will change the way that your children, interact with you. And lastly, of course, secrets to letting go. And some of them are very simple secrets, but we're not aware. I think once you have that awareness, you consciously learn to let go.
Yes. Yes, I think that's so smart. And again, the anxious parenting, I love that you have a specific course for breaking the cycle of anxious parenting. So as a gentle sleep coach, I work with families every single day. And I can tell you, having done this for 13 years, that the anxiety level of parents pre-COVID versus through COVID and now out of COVID, it has gone exponential.
Oh, yes.
So parenting has always been hard. It's always, but then it just got 50,000 times harder during COVID. And we're out of COVID now, but it didn't mean that we went back to kind of the previous level of anxiety. It literally spiked us, and now our new normal is way up here. So there's just a lot of anxiety around, am I doing things right? Am I not doing things right? Should I allow my child to do this or not? Obviously health, safety, all of this anxiety that sometimes parents will overdo, overgive, overcompensate, and exhaust themselves in the process. And it's anxious parenting, and they don't even realize that they're in the soup of anxious parenting because all their peers are doing anxious parenting. And so that it's like become this new norm of parenting, but that wasn't like that level of anxiety and self-doubt and overwhelm that is present on it every day. So I think that this is going to be a really valuable course for anyone that's listening to this. I think take advantage of the fact that she's offering it for, normally it's $130 and she's offering 50% off, and it's going to help you. She has tools, practical tools. So absolutely take advantage of that. So thank you. So now, as part of WO3, we get to shout out another female entrepreneur that you think is doing big, beautiful things. So tell us who you would like to shout out.
Well, I mentioned her. Her name is Deslynn Jaquias on the island of Kauai, and she does healing with Aloha. And I think with people who are dealing with trauma, grief, even suicide surviving families, it is so important to learn how to heal. And that healing journey can be rough. When you think about it, parenting, we're healing ourselves every day that we parent. But to have a healing coach and someone who is, I think being a single mom, raising a teen, a son on her own, it's even more like she's compassionate. And I think I would love to shout out Deslynn Jaquias because we need more healing in the world. And she does have a global podcast called Healing with Aloha. So yeah, that's my shout out.
That's wonderful. So yeah, so for any of you that have some history with trauma, grief, get some healing with Aloha, or at least listen to the podcast, and we'll have all the show notes. So thank you so much, Karen, for being a part of this WO3 endeavor. I just love interviewing other women-owned businesses that are contributing to an easier parenting journey. And I just want to remind everybody that WO3 Day is March 30th this year, but that means that the entire month of March, we want you thinking about how you can partner, promote, and support a female-owned business. So if you're listening to this, go get her breaking the cycle
Breaking
of
the cycle of anxious
parenting.
parenting. Yes.
Or if this isn't related to you, take this video, this YouTube video or blog, wherever you got it, and forward it to a friend, or jump on her and say, I want to get some coaching for my child, some individual tutoring and coaching. So there are so many ways that you can be partnering and promoting and supporting other female-owned businesses. Forward their blog, write them a testimonial, refer them to a friend. Just make it your thought, kind of like Small Business Saturday. Be thinking in the month of March, how can I individually partner, promote, and support a female-owned business in the month of March? So thank you so much for joining us. And I was delighted to be able to partner, promote, and support you today, Karen.
Same here. And I look forward to interviewing you on my podcast.
Okay,
Letting Go
great.
with
See?
Aloha soon.
Exactly. There's some aloha spirit. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Take care. Thanks. Bye.